Oh man, I was thinking about last Saturday and how nice it was to just plan on doing a stream, like 3, 4 in the morning, and then going to sleep relatively early, and then just not even without. I didn't even have to use an alarm. I just woke up like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I always prefer when I can get a little bit of rest before I start one of these because I always, assume that we're going to go for at a minimum probably a few hours. Um, Again, things are always subject to change. I know that sometimes I'm more inclined to go longer if I see some people, certain characters appear. Um, I guess to bury the lead a little bit, it's been another one of those types of weeks. I'd say the one piece of good news is that my job gave me more shifts. Um, I went from having as low as only two the week before last, this last week rather, and then having four this week. I had two over the last 2 days, and then another one tomorrow, and then one on Monday, and then three next week, and then four the week after that. So that's been the one positive thing I can say, that they went from giving me the lowest number of shifts to something that is much more conducive to what I want out of working in one of these places, and I am glad about that. Um, I will say I was so frustrated a few days ago because sometimes when we have things, we'll make a mistake in regards to you shouldn't have put this here, you shouldn't have put that there. Uh, I had some food that I put somewhere I shouldn't have, and I got a nice surprise with regard to when I opened it and saw what was in there. And I've been determined not to make that same error. This is a pretty difficult day too because I kind of just went off of, like, I went to sleep yesterday at 5 in the morning and got up around like 10 or 11. I know it was less than the 7 or 8 I would normally like to have. So it was kind of like you coasted off of just this, like I'd say it's still mostly that eight, but not really. And then stuff just kept coming up, with regards to some of these errands and different things to do. But I didn't really take it, I don't say too seriously, but I didn't use as much for this as I probably would have liked. Um, I guess it was probably as close to a normal week of work as I would say was possible. There were some. So far, it's only been two shifts, but there wasn't anything I would say stood out to me. Like when I just am thinking about these last few days, I will say I'm getting really, really tired of cutting myself. Uh, I was cleaning something, and people, they love doing this. They'll put things that are not supposed to be shoved into something else. Like it'll be hard to remove them from their container, whichever way they've been formatted. And it's all in the business of trying to, they call themselves trying to save space, not trying to, make sure that they have more room for things. And man, I was trying to pull this stuff out, just fiddling with it, and all of a sudden the piece just ripped out and cut me on the side of my finger, and I can feel it right now as I touch the like around this area right here. Man, that cut is deep. Not as deep as some of the other ones I've had, but it's not comfortable. And I like every time I put my finger like this, or anytime you apply a little bit of pressure on it, you can feel it. I always said the problem with a lot of the cuts I get is that due to the fact that I have to like soak my hand in uh, water for anywhere from 4, 5, or 6 hours during these shifts. That means when like I'm offered a band-aid, I can't like I usually don't even take it because it's just gonna peel off in the water anyway. So your only recourse is to just keep having the finger that is cut, like just openly displaying itself. But I guess that's the wonder of a lot of these jobs that you just keep doing the same thing over and over, and you don't do it over and over because you like it. You don't even do it over and over because it's actually making a benefit in your life. It's all in the interest of pursuing a few dollars. Mm. All in attempts to just get those extra coins. I said, it's funny how when you apply for one job, there's always this idea that like, okay, well, they know I'm available 6 days out of 7, right? That means they're going to give me probably anywhere from 4 to 5 days of work a week. But some of these places, and this is the case with my job, they will be fully aware that they can use you really pretty much anytime they want, any day they want, and they'll just be like, "Oh, you're not working Monday, you're not working Tuesday, you're not working Wednesday, you're not working Friday, you're not working, you know, Saturday," and you'll be sitting there, you're like, I gave you guys all of these days of availability with the assumption, I think it was a pretty reasonable one, that if you want an employee, you're going to give this person, multiple days a week. But it's so fascinating how, like, and I was talking to someone about this. I said these jobs would rather, instead of just hiring one person full time, right, 40 hours a week, uh if it's not Monday through Friday, it's like 5 days a week, right, 8-hour shifts. Instead of hiring one person full time, they would rather hire 3, 4 people to do the same amount of work, but all receiving less money because none of them get anywhere near 40 hours. So many times they don't even get 20. And like I said, everybody keeps saying, just get another job, just get another job, just get another job. And I keep, it's like when I talk, they hear something else. I said, when you have a job that's hours fluctuate so greatly, where there's no consistent pattern to it, right? Where Monday you could be working from 11 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, or 4 in the afternoon to 8 or 9 p.m., or 5 in the afternoon to 10 p.m., or sometimes not even working at all. It's like it's not reliable, it's not consistent. And that's extremely dangerous if you're trying to work somewhere else, because if you try to get another job and they say, okay, we'll use you for Saturday, Sunday, and what else? Let's just throw in Tuesday, for example. Your job didn't give you work on this Tuesday. So, okay, well, yeah, that looks like it works. And then guess what? Next Tuesday, they want you there at an hour that conflicts with the other one. Like I said, my only option probably is to just get a job that lets me basically work it whenever I like. And I know that's rare, and I know that's like, it's just, again, I'm just trying to hold on to what I already have and not end up, you know, getting myself with nothing, or landing myself with nothing, I should say. Well, it was also a pretty unfortunate week in terms of, we had the RNC and there were a lot of just goofy, weird speeches that people were making. And I was saying, the only thing I regret about getting more work this week was that I truly believe that if I had just kind of like had maybe a, because I did, like, today is the only day I'll have out of the next like few days to just do my own thing. Um, if I had more days, I probably would just go and you know, make videos and, like, all the goofy, because it wouldn't take that long to make them, since most of them are just me addressing something I think is crazy or weird. And there's always stuff just popping off sometimes, I tell you. Oh, I saw something, I guess. My mom was playing tricks on me. Yeah, it's hard trying to work in the wondrous US economy with greedy employers that don't want to pay anybody anything. Um, just the pretty unfortunate circumstance of just having a job that's as far away as this one is. It's like all the people that are around there, they don't have to pay anywhere near the amount of gas to just get over there. Um, and we talked about how it just seems like some stuff is designed on purpose to be as unfair as possible. Like, why should you even allow a job to have 6 days of availability from you if they're only going to give you 2 shifts a week? You know, because I remember at one point I said, okay, well, I can always count them to give me at least three, right? If we're doing this whole thing of like barely wanting to use somebody, at least they'll give three. But no, they don't even do that a lot of times. They just basically say, well, you'll get what you get this week, and just hope and pray we decide to give you more. We're generous after this, because it's all in the pursuit of trying to save some money. Like I said, it's so crazy. It's basically they'll keep on trying to use people as little as possible, and then as more and more people quit from just not being able to make anything off of this position, suddenly they will use the people who stayed, who kind of like brave through the storm, and give you, the reward of actually being treated like a semi important member of their staff. When, as I said before, you can in all seriousness give your heart and soul to one of these places, and they'll discard of you. They'll treat you like you don't even matter. And it's just really sad. I'll put this back in here. I'm not feeling that great. I was gonna try to get something to drink, but considering my options, I don't think I'll use it. Yeah, I saw this lovely, terrific, wonderful spider crawling. And it was on the wall, and like I tried to take it out, but it like fell down. So I'm trying to see if I can spot it again. Yeah, it seems to have vanished. But I'm sure it'll reappear at some point, because I could have sworn I saw something crawling. Maybe that's just my imagination. I'll know soon enough. But as I was saying, it's really just saddening to me that you work for these places and they don't treat you right. It's always unfortunate, and it's always another part of the themes of but just like there's always these overarching parallels with these jobs where you see more and more how even if you work a different kind of job, even if one job is in the morning, one's in the afternoon, there's always these things that connect them. Like there's always that same whole aspect of, oh yeah, you are our employee, but uh what you thought that meant we had to give you hours? You thought that meant we had to? I mean, I've seen jobs where they'll get upset with you over not knowing something on day one. It's really crazy. Like I said, just lunacy. Oh yeah, my favorite thing yesterday was that I was kind of feeling so again, that whole like 5, 6 hour sleep thing did kind of mess me up a little bit. Like just, where you just like yawning and feeling like tired in general. And I was like, okay, I'll go to the market and I will go and get, energy drink, whatever, and try to supplement the rest of it with that. And I get up here, I go in the parking lot, I start walking through the area, and this, I guess one of the employees that's there, someone other person that works there was like, "Oh, sorry, the market's computer is down." And I'm like, "What?" So apparently all their devices were out. So that meant that no one could, buy anything, just had to leave. Um, and as I was like kind of just reeling from the frustration of, okay, I came over here all the way, for nothing, because that is my favorite one to go to, and it's not as close to me as it used to be. More people were showing up, and they had to keep telling them, "Oh, is not working, not working. Yeah, place is not working, malfunction. Go somewhere else." Blah 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 blah. And I said to myself, "Isn't it crazy that you guys don't think to maybe put up a sign, maybe do something else like basically because of how short notice this is and because they have like no I guess they can't think of any way to alert people of the fact that they're not available today. You're going to just have more and more people showing up throughout the day ready to get something from what is probably the closest market for a lot of them and being told they have to go walk somewhere else or drive somewhere else. It's really tacky. You just think we would think all the resources that these places have, they'd be able to do more than just sit here and at the last minute, like right after you get here, hey, thanks for driving all the way over here. It's too bad that you can't actually buy anything you want. I'm so sick of that rooster, man. Like I was always told that a lot of these animals, especially the chickens, whatever, they're there so that it'll wake somebody up at the crack of dawn or some other hour where people would be ready to like go to work, maybe 6, 7, 8 o'clock. This thing just goes from 12 in the morning, sometimes 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning now, and it's like why, just so obnoxious. I'm really surprised none of the neighbors complain about it. It's really loud and repetitive. It's not like it does it for like just maybe a few like a few times. It just goes on and on and on. And you always know it's the same one because who the hell owns a rooster? That is kind of funny that somebody like there's just this one person that owns this animal that nobody else would even bother with. And so like every time you hear the noise, like its signature noise, it's that same one over and over. At least with like dogs or cats, they're so common that if you hear barking all night, you don't have like a specific person that might just like, oh, this is annoying. But with that, you know it's the same one each time. Yeah. There it goes again. But yeah, these Discord people, they don't seem to ever stop in terms of their insanity. Um, and I think this is probably the week where I have, and I it like it keeps dawning on me that I've only like been back on there regularly in servers for like just over a month, right? But I think this is probably the week that's going to be the end of my pursuits. Um, when I was streaming on Monday, because I know it looks confusing if you don't know what the context was. There was this lady who was in this group, one of those like server VCs with me, having a decent dialogue, nice little time. I mean, no one's really taking anything too seriously. And I, send her a friend request. I leave. I'm figuring, okay, well, just be a nice person to probably talk to over the next few days, or whatever the duration will be. And as I'm streaming, I get this DM that says something to the effect of, you and your friends were leave me alone. And I'm like, what? And I click it, and I see that I've been because it's like add friend or whatever. I'm like, what in the world? And it begins this really repetitive dialogue where she keeps saying, these are your friends, and you keep saying, no, they are not. And it was so bad that I did something I almost never do, which is join the VC while streaming. Like, okay, I'm not going to wait until I'm finished here. Let me just like, what's going on? And Dio was in the chat. He was like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. So, yeah, I know. Mike is muted. And her rationale was, even though she was fully aware that I was not in this call anymore, that I had left to go do my own thing, she believed I was somehow responsible for what happened because I did not defend her. Even though I could not defend her because I wasn't there. But secondly, why the hell is it my responsibility to, I guess, take up a sword and shield for this girl I haven't even known for, half a day. So, just weird stuff. And it got weirder as the days progressed. But then we have another individual. And it's so funny, when I was talking to him, I said the average shelf life, and that was the term I used for a lot of these internet, not even just like internet women, but like well, not, I should say internet women, is that you'll start talking to them and it'll be like a few days, a few weeks, maybe a month and a half. And then after, but it'll be some variety of either a singular number of days or singular number of weeks that they will like fade away, fizzle out. You'll stop speaking to them, whatever. And this normally has to do with the person either abruptly stops responding, or you get into some kind of feud with them that ends with the person deciding they don't want to talk to you anymore. That kind of stuff happens a lot. And I've always said, like, you had this guy come on the Discord women video talking about, we shouldn't be outcome dependent. But I said, look, I don't see the point of talking to someone for any duration, for any reasonable duration of time, whether that's, again, weeks or months, if they're just going to, cut the umbilical cord over anything and stop speaking to you. It's like, what's the point? like reverse the roles, you wouldn't see me tell somebody about personal matters relating to either family or work related stuff. And then, okay, this person wrote one message I don't quite like. They asked me what state I'm in, or I don't know. They asked me when I'd be online again, or they asked me they said they missed me or whatever, and I just unfriend them or I block them. And I said that's only the kind of weird stuff you see with these people. You don't see this. Like I've said before, I'm completely aware of how like weird men online can be, but the difference is that I only encounter weird men if it's like again through a lot of these like sites where they just watch my stuff or say something or whatever I'm doing. Like I don't have interpersonal relationships with guys that I think are out of their mind. Like if I'm just speaking, especially if I'm speaking like some man one on one, it normally doesn't go that way. Um, Again, most of the crazy ones appear through associations with these, the one with the ones they like to defend for no reason and no reward. So it's really just fascinating how like one group only exposes its worst side when you talk to them, and then the other one just kind of like appears and give and like manifest its members that are undesirable. Just something I've noticed. But man, like so sometimes you can just try so hard for something to work. You can try as hard as you may, compromise. And I said, I've always considered myself a versatile conversationalist in the sense that there are people, and it's not everybody, but like there are people I can sit there and talk to for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and never run out of something to speak about with. And it can be a combination of, you know, you're just talking about your day went, or something in the news, or something someone did that you saw that you thought was interesting or notable, etc. Um, and I've always said that for me, I've preferred to speak to those who have the same interest as me. You know, um, there are some people I talk to that also like to draw, also like to write, and that there are people who, even if they don't like the same thing, you can talk to them about it, and you can kind of like bring them to your level, or maybe if you give enough explanation, they'll be more malleable to just hearing about it. When you have a person who, before you even like mention this stuff to, says, "I will be bored by this," like they don't even try to hear you out on this topic or thing, and then they have the nerve to tell you that speaking to you has gotten to a stale to a point of stale disinterest. It's like, what do you even say to that? And again, there are some times where people, I'm sure, just don't know what to discuss. But people who actually want to speak to each other are going to try to find something to discuss. They're not going to leave it up to one person and then get mad at them, or act like they've done something wrong. Like it's just, and that's why I said I truly believe there are some people in this world who, no matter how hard they may try, no matter how many attempts they may make, they will be alone. And not even just in the romantic sense, right? I mean that they can go on websites, they can go to places in real life. They can say, "Hey, like, how are you?" etc. Um, they can have people that they schedule to do things with, and no matter how much they compromise, they bend the knee, they try and uh, appeal to the other individual, it just doesn't matter. I mean, I could say I like to draw, write. I'm into history. Um, if I'll discuss work related stuff here, or there, especially if it's like one of those just really bad shifts. And maybe sometimes I'll also talk about, like the weird stuff that happens on these various sites. And when I meet someone who they don't like to draw, they don't like to write, they say that, my one of my main subjects of interest, which is history, is like not interesting to them or they don't care. Well, they've already tied my hands in three of what, five different areas of potential conversation. And it's like at the same time as they're either directly against speaking about these things or uh what's the way of putting it? Not addressing this stuff, they also don't want to introduce anything themselves. I mean, what would I look like if I'm streaming and somebody in the stream asked me, "What do you think of, I don't know, the WWE?" Now, if I'm being normal, I'll say, I haven't watched it in a long time. I used to like it when I was a kid a little bit. Now, I was never like some big wrestling fan, but etc." And instead of just answering, maybe in not the most, elongated manner, but certainly an honest one, uh, I just stared at the screen like a deer in headlights. But yeah, to summarize, I had someone who would sit there and talk to me for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and and she was seeking these calls out, man. Hey, want to call me? Hey, want to talk? And all of a sudden, over the last must be 3 or 4 days, I would notice this trend where she just like wouldn't say anything, like just would not speak. Like as in you're in the middle of this call with somebody and they're just sitting there quiet as a mouse, just hush hush. And I'm like, what? I would go, hello, are you there? Can you hear me? Because it just seemed weird that like somebody would be in a call with you and not say anything, unless of course their computer's acting up. I know she at some point had some computer issues. So I asked 2 days ago, "Are you getting tired of me?" And this is where she says, "I'm not tired of you, just the joking is getting exhausting. I don't know if you'll understand, but doing something once or twice or even 10 times can still feel funny. But if it's all the time, you may start to feel upset about it." Uh, and then, she makes some mention to, if I jokingly call my friend this maybe 2 to 5 times a day, that's all right. But if it's every 6 minutes, they will start getting upset. Um, Same goes for the jokes about me and this, as well as the fact that we really do mostly talk about those women at least 80% of the time, and I just do not know what else to talk about. I don't know if I should talk about your job, your hobbies, all that stuff, because it just loops back around to the jokes and the women. And again, I think I think you're a wonderful person with a good heart. It's just I don't think we may be compatible to talk to one another. I enjoy sitting in silence, sometimes listening to commentary from the other about what they're doing or just random other topics. I just don't feel as inclined to do that with you. Now, again, you're telling somebody that you don't believe you're compatible with talking to them after you have sat in calls with them multiple times for hours. I could read the rest of that nonsense, but I don't know. It's just I don't feel as inclined. But I am serious about just the absurdity of it. Like I am upset by the thing that we mostly talk about. I'm not going to find something else for us to talk about. I'm not even going to say anything if I can't think of something else to talk about. I'm going to just say, hey, we are now no longer able to speak to each other. Act like the only thing I can speak about are some stupid chicks. Like, man, and it drives me crazy because, again, I have people who I can talk about the news with, again, history, people that also like to write, where I just, that's actually one of the things that relates back to that stupid girl that thought I was her ex boyfriend on some new accounts, apparently. I was just kind of like feeling, I guess, nostalgic. So I went and looked through the messages I had with her from, before last Thursday, before the accusation that made no sense and still makes no sense. And I said, I'm looking at these messages where I'm telling her about this book. She's given some examples of stuff it reminds her of. And I said, there's a little bit of creepy stuff on her part. Oh, I don't do VCs with anyone except like these three people. And, what state are you from? Da, 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 and what two states can you drive? Just there's little stuff in there that I'm not really the most comfortable with because it's like, what is this? But it was a mostly decent dialogue. It was a mostly okay rapport. And I despise that, like, after several days of what was, just a nice person to talk to, she morphed into this, full-on conspiracy theorist. And that's why I'm of the belief that there is this thing inside some of these I don't want to say girls, women, where it's like a self-destruct sequence begins. Like if they talk to somebody and like you're just speaking to them, hey, how you doing, what's up, give it a day, 2 days, 3 days, not even like 72 hours, it's like in their mind it's like, okay, this has been going good so far, how can I ruin it? I know, I'll say that you're my ex-partner on a new account and I'll double down on this, and even if it makes no damn sense to anyone but me, I'll keep saying that you are him or you must be a friend of his. And like I don't even I kept, going back and forth. Do I want to do a video about doing it? And I just said, honestly, I would laugh at how stupid this accusation is, but the other part of me is just so upset because it's like, why did it have to be this way? Like, why couldn't we have just spoken normally about writing the way that we did for several days and keep building off of that? Why did it have to turn into this thing, this ugly form? Like, why? Like, I really do sit back and wonder, is there almost some higher deity or force, and I do believe in higher deities, or at least a higher deity, that is like, hey, you had a good time talking to this person, time to ruin it. Your account was made on June the 10th. I really do wonder sometimes. That's why I said I just don't have the patience to get as invested in these, sacks of trash as I used to, where it's like, again, there's always that idea of, oh, you're going to meet this lady and you and her have some things in common. And, maybe you can become friends because you both like the same things or whatever. And it's like with that one, I can just read through these messages and it was nice because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff I like to do where even if I like it, even if I enjoy it, I don't necessarily have someone to kind of like bounce ideas off with, or who's trying to do something similar or anything. Like it's always just me existing in this vacuum with whatever plot or plan I have, and then maybe there'll be that like one conversation here that is like in reference to that, or that other dialogue there that mentions it a little bit, but it's mostly just you like this, and you'll do stuff relating to it, but a person to talk to almost never. And I read through these replies, I see this dialogue that was going, and I said, why did it have to pass? Did I say the wrong thing? Did I, because it's always my fault, of course. But there are some things that you just can't control. There are some external forces at play that are looking to destroy your brighter day. Because I could not have foreseen by any reasonable metric, oh, this person will be convinced based on your writing style and what day your account was made and all the rest of this. And no matter how much you try to just calmly talk about this, hey, look, can we, like, I just got so irritated. Must be 2, 3, 4 days ago that I just sent a series of messages, just like not even like really profanity or anything, just like venting about how frustrating it was that she blew up the entire dialogue over something that doesn't even matter or make sense, like completely destroyed what I genuinely enjoyed, a rapport that I thought was nice, that I thought was good, over a stupid conspiracy theory. And she has stayed on this hill ever since. But that's why I said some people really are just better off by themselves, like, because again, I said I didn't expect the conspiracy theory. That type of thing hasn't happened before, but that whole thing of like, hey, you thought you were having a good dialogue with some lady, and then she just abruptly switches gears, turns, changes, flips, does some snake thing. That's already happened like what, 4, 5 times, 6 times in the last couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, or 5 weeks. And I just don't know how much more of it I can put up with. I had this line about how a story is only good once it's ended. And it's like, could you imagine if you go up to somebody and you told them, hey, you're going to start speaking to this lady, and she and you are going to have the same types of interests. You're both going to like to write. And you're both going to have this desire to write a book or to write some poems, etc. And you're like, oh, that sounds nice. Somebody that likes to sing. But she's going to, after a couple of days, explode on you for something that has nothing to do with you, that she has firmly convinced herself you are responsible for. Who would hear that and be excited for it? Just like somebody could say, hey, you're going to meet this one girl who not only is going to send you a friend request, but is actually going to be actively seeking you out to have calls with, where it's just you and her. Like, oh, okay. And it sounds kind of decent. Uh, but after about a week of this, she's going to suddenly be disinterested, and to a point where she will just sit there without saying a word. You'll have to call her multiple times to even get her to say anything to you. And she's going to make it sound as if you are just this boring, repetitive, lame caricature of a person, uh, in spite of the fact that she herself is saying nothing interesting at all. It really does feel like each one of them has their own weird gimmick. Like I know how every superhero has like a rogues gallery, right? You have Spider-Man and Batman and Superman, but it really does feel like each of these crazy people has something specific to themselves, right? You meet this lady that also likes to write. Plot twist: she had some ex-boyfriend that she's convinced is doing all this weird stuff just to talk to her because she's so great and amazing, and we could never live without her. So we all are going to make all these different accounts just to talk to her, just with the end goal of speaking to her, the greatest woman that ever graced Earth. Apparently, that's her gimmick. This other one, right, pretends to like you, pretends to like speaking to you, but then of course, because we can't have nice things, we'll sit there in complete abject silence. I said before that, like, I made the comparison of like how the avatar will have like elements blocked off at various points in like both uh the last Airbender and Korra, and that's how I feel with like when they're like, oh, I don't when I can't talk about like writing or drawing or even like history or just like current events. It really does feel like they've tied my hands. Like I only have the one element of drama related stuff because it's like I can't be myself with you. I mean, there are plenty of people that are into things that I'm not the biggest fan of. Again, whether that's wrestling, just really anything sports related. And you would never see me, instead of just responding to them, just sit there like my brain has shut off and then criticize them for being stale allegedly when I'm not even trying in any objective metric to do something fascinating myself. Just so weird. And the rooster is still going. Yeah, probably the most annoying animal I've ever had the misfortune of living by. But yeah, she made some comment later on. It's only because I only responded to that buffoonery like twice. She made some comment later on about maybe I'll see you in the VC every now and again, maybe not. And then I was part of a group call because I didn't respond to her last message, and she joined it. And when she joined it, I at first muted my mic, and then I think after about 10 minutes, I just left. So really, like the whole time she was there, I didn't even. Because what was funny is like they were talking about the same thing that I had tried to talk to her about, which was like this crazy woman on Monday. And I basically said internally, I'm like, I'm not about to sit here and speak about the same thing with people who are interested, with a woman who said a few that I'm supposedly so generic and bland and a subject of disinterest to her. So okay, well, to hell with you. So yeah, I left the call without saying anything for the whole like duration of us both being there, and then I came back and looked on Discord about, I'd say, 20 minutes later because I was watching a movie, and I looked and saw that she had unfriended me. Classic. People turn on you so fast, you know? No, we've gotten to a point of just complete absurdity with these individuals. I mean, I saw this one lady that was in one of the VCs right before I started streaming, and I remember you click on her profile, and she has a picture of her chest, an exposed one at that. And I said, you know, I could say something, not about that, but just like, you know, how are you doing, etc. But because things with them have been like, there's just this track record of failure, right? In terms of no matter how nice you are to them, no matter what strategy you employ, you just seem to get the same result over and over. And as I said before, it's getting even more absurd and disturbing to me that it's so hard to just try being friends with one of these monstrosities. I mean, like I remember when I used to like actually want to be involved with some of them, right? Uh, and I remember just like, okay, maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I should wait this many minutes until I respond. Maybe I should, you know, and just a lot of like thoughts went into plotting out each next action. But in all seriousness, it just doesn't seem to matter all that much. Like some of them you don't even talk to for more than maybe a day before they just get so fed up and sick of you so fast. That's why when we had the clowns on that video, and we'll talk more about this when I do my response to it. You know, they all sit there crying about, oh, you wrote a poem, and this is like, da, da, da. It's like, guys, when you've got some woman who wants to drop you over something, she will take anything as the excuse. That's why I said, in all likelihood, the only thing that doing the poem and saying I missed her did was just accelerate the inevitable. Everybody always wants to find fault in one man before they find fault in any of these stupid chicks, like utterly insane women, utterly nuts. I'm gonna tell somebody I like talking to them, and then after a week, tell them that they're so stale and bland and boring. You know, man, it's like, what the hell does she know about being interesting if you're gonna sit there for uh 4, 5, 6 hours with somebody, and then after the first two, just like this is weird, you know? But that's the person that gets to assess how interesting somebody else is. Just like I remember when the first time I got on camera, she made some comments about my hair. And I thought about it and I said, you know, here's a girl who out of her own mouth admits that she has what is called a double chin. Who when she starts to kind of like move a little bit while she's sitting in her chair, you can actually see her shirt rising to show her stomach. And you're going to talk about the way somebody else looks. Classic. That was actually one of the funnier interactions I had with her, where she was admitting that she was, let's just say, on the larger side. But then, like, the only thing I saw her eat while we like during all the times we spoke was some ice cream, and the whole time that she was eating it, I just like sat there in complete abject silence because it's just like you're gonna sit here and out of your and like readily admit you need to lose some weight, but then like also snack on this thing that's like one of the premier items associated. with gaining it. I don't know, I just thought the whole thing was funny. It's just, man, these internet people, they feel so powerful. They can talk about the way somebody else looks, and then they themselves are not even anything to look at. Periods. It's interesting. I'll always find that fascinating. Just and man, to be called bland and all and or boring, or it's like I go to that same server. And I kid you not, the VC I was in last night, around this same time last night, it must have been about 3, 4 in the morning. It had about 8 people in there. And out of those 8 people, it was like me and one other guy that started talking. Where you really had, and this is the part I thought was crazy. You had a group of people sitting together, must be five, six, seven, just saying nothing the whole way through. When was the last time? I don't know why people just it's crazy. It really is. I remember the phrase about the don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And it's like some of these girls, you talk to them and you just want to fall asleep. They're not interesting. This lady will, she'll play some video game, and she'll while she's playing it, not even talk to you, just be playing it, streaming it just for the sake of streaming it. You know, to ask, hey, do I want to watch this? And the whole time that she's doing this, especially as I'm just like rethinking of stuff in retrospect, it's like that your idea of interesting is for us not to speak, but for you to like stream this thing in front of me and then me to just sit there and like I guess observe it in the abstract and kind of like say nothing, right? Just watch you for a whole however many hours. No, I don't know what the solution to this stuff is because so like again her thing is, oh, we don't have any we have nothing to talk about, or there's other than these women. It's like, okay, well, you won't talk about the multiple things that I like that we could easily discuss. So, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't in that case. Now with this other with the conspiracy theorist, it's like there's someone that you did have things in common with, but they blew it up with their stupid allegation, right? And because they're a woman, they don't have to be accountable for any damn thing, uh, including just admitting that they were wrong. So they're going to keep, like I said, I don't know what her strategy is because it's like, oh, I'm being terrorized, but you're not getting like you're still like allowing me to send you messages. It's just that's why I said like it doesn't make sense. It's just been such a bizarre like couple of weeks with these people, and I'm truly at the point of just cutting the all of it altogether, just being like, okay, you know what? I've accepted what my fate will be. Um, let's not talk ever again. Let's just pretend when we see one of them, Just like I had one yesterday that called me annoying, and I said to her, "Hey, look, if you don't want me to be in this call, I can leave." Well, this isn't my server. It's like if you have a problem with me being here, I can leave. If I'm so annoying, then why don't you mute me? That's the second one I've seen. I've seen like throw that word towards me, and it's like every time they do it, they don't like if someone's annoying, mute them. Go to another room. You're so bad. So I said, people just say things. To hell with how true it is, to hell with how accurate it is. Let me just say this thing that I guess feel in some abstract sense, but not enough to actually do anything reflective of it. Because if I really thought somebody was annoying and I couldn't stand listening to them and oh, they're getting on my nerves because they keep making this joke, like I would mute them. I would make it to where I couldn't hear them anymore because I don't like being around them. There's a guy in there that I have preemptively muted, where every time he joins a call, I just can't hear him because it's like, sorry, I don't want to hear some guy say the N word over and over again ad nauseum, like he only knows 10 words. Like, yeah, big apology on my part. Sorry, that's unappealing to me. It's just absurd. No, I've always wondered why I used to just view Discord as like the bottom of the barrel site. Like just nothing of any value is gained from being on there. But I see it now. You sit here, you talk to people, you try to build a rapport, and they're just determined that you are going to I know somebody did not upload. I saw somebody upload Endgame a few days back. I'm trying to see if this is really No Way Home on here. That'll be hilarious. And it's I mean, it's in like an okay quality too. Wow. So people, they're just taking like these films aren't even that old, but I guess like since it's not currently in theaters anymore, they're like, okay, well, I guess I can try and make it free for the world. So yeah, these things just don't seem to improve year after year. Like I'm trying to think of a solution for it, but I don't know. Because there are ones where I haven't had any like actual falling out with. It's just the person that I barely speak, or every time I reach out to them, they're not really all that receptive to it. And I said, like, I just can't get over how there's such a much lower expectation of what you would get from talking to one of them than what you had in the past of like, oh, wanting to date somebody and, you know, build this thing with her. And it's like at this point, all you want to do is just sit there and like, I guess like talk. And that's getting to be too much. People just they ruin everything. It was funny. The one from Monday was in this group in a like three person call with me and this other guy, and she said, "Oh, I guess I'll send you a friend request." And he's like, I don't know about that." And I said, "Yeah, I can't say I blame you." And she tried to say that I was like making him say no, and that she had it recorded. And I was like, "Oh no, I've never been recorded before." But also, it's like the guy said, I don't know, like he wasn't entirely sure about like he turned her down her request without my intervention. And of course, I can't make him turn her down. So it's like, what is this recording going to do? I said, in all seriousness, there really is no point in me speaking to them, is there? Like we talked about how with this coworker thing, it really rattled me because I didn't have people in real life that treated me that way in the past. Like, of course, you work a job, there are people you talk to, people you don't get along with as well, but just whatever. But it's like I saw in her this arc of person I really like speaking to, I have a decent, rapport with, to after just trying, just making a little effort to make things be more than what they are, to actually attempt to become friends with this person. It just spiraled in directions that I could not have foreseen. Um, to where it made me regret even trying. Because it's like I know that if I had just kept it to, oh, we only, we're just coworkers, we only see each other at the job. I'm 90% sure that we would still be talking at this point, and I wouldn't have had the ran into the trouble I did. But it's like I would sit there, month after month. I watch these other people. They hang out together. They go and they get picked up from each other's house. Hey, you do anything over the weekend? Just I hear that type of stuff, and it's like, why the hell can't I have that? Just like I'm sure with some of these chicks, there are guys they don't unfriend or block or whatever after only knowing the damn man for a couple of hours or a few days or a few weeks. Like it, it's just so frustrating because I know it doesn't have to be this way, but they want it to be. They want you to sit there year after year talking to a bunch of people who really don't give a damn about you at all and never will. Uh, and when they do something stupid or they get mad at you over something that's really not that big of a deal, just some kind of finicky turn switch stuff, you're supposed to be like, I can't believe it. Who would have guessed that she would turn on me just like all of the other past ones or most of the other past ones? You got this girl talking about, I like you romantically. It was a week ago. And I said, putting aside the fact that I have no interest in trying to date someone from another country or date some woman that doesn't want children long term from another, because it's like, why am I even wasting my time with someone that doesn't have the same long term goals as me if it's already established there's going to be a long term goal of trying to see this person in person? It's like I don't get excited when I hear that type of stuff because we've heard everything from these modern forces. It's like you've seen the ones that say they like talking to you, and then after a week or 2 weeks, they're done trying to reach out to you. You've seen the ones where after saying that, you know, she feels like you're friends, you make her upset over one or two things, and then she's done with you. I mean, like, come on, who buys this stuff anymore? It's like, so no, I don't believe you. especially after the last few days. I said these women lie so much. I wouldn't even trust that their hair is their actual hair color. Like it's all, or that the name they say is their name is their actual government name. I don't believe any of that stuff because they lie over everything. They lie over things that don't even need to be lied about. They lie. You can ask one of them something basic. Hey, what's your favorite color? And they'll sit there and think because they really like they have to make up a lie. There has to be some other thing. They can't just say directly like, oh, yeah, I like red. No, you had me criticized for having an end goal with a lot of this stuff, and my end goal with most of it isn't even that serious. Like, hey, this would be a nice person to talk to. Just be a nice person to just message, whatever. Um, I'm telling you, sometimes I look at these interactions and I'm like, did she really have this planned? Like, I'm going to, okay, there's this guy that just messaged me, whatever. And then okay, so I'm like, talk to him for a few days. I'm going to like ask him some questions, see how he responds to them. He's a little reluctant to certain things. And then I'm going to accuse him of being my ex partner. And then when he's like, I'm actually not this person, hell, I'll even show you my face. Oh, okay, I'm gonna move the goalpost. We are actually like friends with him. It's like, okay, you made your account just to bother me, even though your account was made almost a month ago. I don't know, it just like what is a trajectory of that? Like a few days where we're just like talking normal, and then I accuse you of this, and then like you're supposed to, I guess, admit to it, or I don't know. I don't know what her plot here is. I really do not. I just know I feel immense sense of annoyance because there's just so much time wasted with these bastards, like over and over and over and over again. And I know that no matter what stupid thing they do, no matter how unfounded their allegations are, no matter how dumb their actions are, there will only be one person that takes the blame or the fall. And I guess what I'm so like annoyed by is that because I mentioned there was like this 2 year period. I was like, okay, that's it. I can't have anything good with any of them. Like I remember we had the one that like I know blocked me for just asking directly, hey, look, so do you even actually want to talk to me? I keep coming on here, you won't say anything. And then you had the one from last year with the boyfriend. But I said I guess I always get so irritated when I speak to one of them and it goes the way that it does because there's always like a little tiny glimpse, like a little sparkle of what things could be, but through their own either combination of stupidity or lack of a willingness to meet me halfway, things just don't improve. It stays the same. And it's so frustrating because like you can tell when there are some guys they come on here, and I'm not well, let's not do the like fake stud stuff, but like there are some guys that when they go on these sites, maybe it's not a whole lot of them, but they can get one, two, three of these wacky women to talk, to just, "Yeah, how you doing?" But it feels like I can't send one of them a DM without facing the possibility of capital punishment. I mean, it's crazy. Like I think about this one, like this one and the one I was talking, that was the other idiot, the one I was sitting over there talking about. You know, what was the dumb message? Let me go back. I just don't think we may be compatible to talk to one another. It's like they destroy your interactions with them. They make half attempts to even speak, period, or they blow it up, right? But then somehow you're the one that ends up having to like wear the bandage from the beating of these guys online talking about, oh, if you had just done this, done that, etc., etc. So I said you just can't take any of it seriously. But I was saying that, I keep thinking about the coworker stuff because there's a lot of girls that at my job, for example, and they all like to smile and act like I mentioned that there was like the one girl that said she thought I had stopped working there because she hadn't seen me in 3 or 4 weeks. And I said, how much of a lazy piece of garbage do you have to be to where you can't just call the person, send them a message, hey, you still work here? Like I haven't seen you in a while. How hard is that? She has my number. I know she has my number because we had a brief exchange. So it's just sad, man. People are just pathetic. And every now and again, I see one that kind of piques my interest. Where I mentioned there were like two girls at my job that I was kind of wanting to talk to. But I said, in all seriousness, do I really want to try talking to one of them, starting stuff up again, just to have the same dumb stuff play out? Like maybe they don't report me like the other one did, but I really want to like sit there and start doing, like there was one of them where I kind of like said to her, so if I send you something, will you get mad or whatever? And she was like, oh, why don't we just talk when we're here? And I thought about that and I said, why? Like I know that these people hang out, I know that they do things together, but for whatever reason, it is my curse to just not have those types of exchanges with these bastards. It's unfortunate. In a lot of cases I'd like to, but that's just the way it is. It's really aggravating. I don't know why things can't be better. Like legitimately at this point just chalk it up to their insanity as a group and the acceptance that you can try as hard as you might for something and still not get it. But that was always the biggest problem with a lot of this like relationship stuff. It always felt as if I was just the only one expected to make any effort, Like you have to put yourself out there. You have to, I mean, it's just I just get tired of it because it doesn't stop. You go and you look at some of these comments that people are writing. Not people, I should say that these weird guys, right? Oh, da 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 da. You didn't. Ha ha ha. Woman doesn't like. It's like it's not the point. We're not even talking about trying to get a date. And I have to keep emphasizing that none of the stuff that we've talked about with these women has been romantic at all since for at least over like at this point, yeah, like 2 years, 3 years. All you wanted to do was just send somebody a damn DM. Or, in the case the coworker to go to the movies, and it's like whatever little bit of stuff you want, it's just too much. You might as well be asking for the world at that point. But yeah, there are some of them that I do like. They write something here or there I think is nice. But every time I see them and I start thinking, oh, it would be nice to know this person, talk to this person. I just can't help but think, oh wait, it's going to end up the same way it always does. You putting in all this effort and then it's all for nothing, or they have. I've had chicks where they literally will unfriend you and they'll be like, hey, what happened? Oh, I remember the one girl, we didn't really vibe. I said, what the hell does that even mean? You don't even try. You just like get some guy messaging you, barely half respond, and then like punish him by. I mean, it's just like it's stupid. It's weird. It's just like bizarre. So I said that's the thing about the modern woman. Like they're a nice thing to look at and see. Oh, this one girl is pretty. Oh, she's walked past me. Oh, there's this other girl that's in this server, and she just said this, ha ha ha, whatever. But like actually trying to become friends with one of them, forget it. It's like I'm finished. So much time goes into these stupid, worthless pricks. Like it's not even funny how you can have one of them that in the span of just 8 days will sit there with you for hours on end. And then all of a sudden, I don't think we are compatible to talk to one another. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? What was the previous week? Well, I thought things would change, but I see that you. And it's like, dude, imagine having someone just like tie your hands and prevent you from talking about the things you want to talk about because they're not interested in it. And they have the audacity to act like speaking to you is some intellectual impairment to them. Like, give me a break. I've been part of these group calls that they like to sit in. They don't even talk about anything. They'll have three, four, five, six people just sitting there. Like, are you serious? That's what you would prefer? That's exciting. That's riveting. Serious. Everything with relationships to me it's just like it's just relationships with women are just a mirage to me. They're like when you go to a store and they have like display items that they don't actually sell in the store. So like you'll see something in the display case, it looks pretty cool. And you go in the store and you're looking for it, you're looking and you're looking and you're looking and you're looking, and no matter how much you look around, ask people that work there, Where is this thing? You just can't get it. And that's really what a lot of these stupid attempts at just being friends with them have turned into, where it's just constant looking for something that doesn't materialize ever. And I always gave the example of how, you DM some woman, you say hi, she blocks you, or maybe she says, "Hey, I don't want to talk to you," whatever, like whatever. But you don't get that. I get these elongated, dragged out things. You got the one girl DM calls me about reading some thing to her boyfriend, and then when you talk to her the next day, at first she's receptive, but you say one little thing that she doesn't like, blocked. You got the other girl. Uh, hey, you're invisible. When can I speak to you again? How am I gonna know if you're online? Unfriended. Oh, you got this other one. Uh, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. I've been missing you. Blocked. Like seriously, when does it stop? How many of these good for nothings do you have to go through before before it settles in that you have an inevitable fate? And again, the internet crowd, they always act like, oh, you did this wrong. But like I said, there's been all types of strategies employed with these jerks, like again, you got the one guy talking about, oh, your poem. It's like, dude, most of them I didn't write anything like that for, and they still do the stuff they do. So it really doesn't matter. That's an outlier. But whatever, always my fault. They just it just goes on and on and on with these horrendous backwards servers. Like I'm getting a lot of flashbacks to when I used to be on Reddit, and you'd have these chicks that would post like the R for R about like, oh, I want to speak to somebody, and this is my age, and this is where I'm from, and this is what I like to do, etc., etc. And I always said to myself, it was so interesting to watch a group of people because I always tell you, men have a much harder time getting attention from women than the other way around. Like that's it's just it's true at this point. Anyone that denies that is not living in the real world. But I always thought it was so interesting how you have these women who they feel like they have to come on here, like on the internet, to get the attention of males. Like they think they need to come on here to meet someone that is to whatever caliber or level of desire that they might have, when really their efforts are just as fruitless as men's, except in the reverse, where it's like a lot of men just get ignored by these chicks that they like or try to talk to. A lot of chicks just sift through men like you would go into a convenience store and sift through whatever items are in there. Just they don't like, you're nothing to them. That's why you can talk to one of them for days or weeks and have them tell you all this personal stuff, or laugh and giggle, right? And then block you, unfriend you the next minute because, again, it doesn't matter. And all these stupid terms about game and charisma and all the rest of that crap. Like I said, you heard the recordings. They acted like they liked speaking to me, and then you got the reverse. So it doesn't matter. Anyone tells you otherwise is lying. But then again, that's the main thing people do online is lie. They lie about how successful they are with their relationships. They lie about how they look so amazing as they hide their face and talk about what somebody else is wearing or how they look. Just like I'll never forget, I sent this girl a picture I drew, And it's a picture I've sent to like 5, 6 different people. And everyone else who saw it will just say, oh, I like it. It's nice. This girl gets the picture and she says, it's okay besides the lady's arm being messed up. And that really annoyed me because this is a girl who out of her own mouth admits that she can't even draw. So it's like you get this image that everybody else who's gotten it will just say like something complimentary toward, because that's how I think that's reasonably how most people are of stuff that they themselves don't do. You just like send them something like, oh, okay, I like that. Um, she's the only one that in seeing this picture tried to be a damn art critic. And I was so annoyed, I just deleted it. I was like, okay, well, you don't have to see the messed up arm anymore. Anybody else wonder why I have a problem with them? Just a really like lousy group. And I said that for someone like me, the incentive to keep putting up with that stuff is not that strong because it's like if all you're doing is just trying to get a conversation out of somebody, you can have more interesting ones with other men and they're and like you're almost like guaranteed to just not run into these same problems. Like I've met very few men online that have written me Dear John letters. Oh, I don't think we're compatible, and let's go our separate ways, and all that trash that refuse to let me speak to them voice to voice. You know that stuff. That stuff just doesn't happen with other guys. Like I don't see that. All the weird, insane stuff is just it's woman exclusive. The only ones that do this crazy crap. You know, they're all such great brilliant geniuses on what makes for a successful relationship. And I said before, the truth is, if these people were at like, it's not even just like with these crazy guys, but the truth is, if a lot of these women had the relationships that men want to pretend they have, they wouldn't come online. Like I was even going to mention this, the one I did that weird thing on Monday. I remember I had a call with somebody on either two on Wednesday. There we go. And I remember the day that I had that call on Wednesday, it was 8 p.m. my time, and she was in this VC in that server that we're both in. And I left the call. I finished the call with this guy like 1 in the morning my time, and I looked in there, and she was still in that VC. And then this other person, the one that like turned snake on me, right? The one that was talking about, oh, we may not be compatible. That lie. Uh, I finished speaking to her at I think 3 p.m. and I looked in that same server again, and that girl was still in that VC. So she had been in that VC for at least from 7 p.m. my time to 3 in the morning. And that's why I said, like, these people don't have anything to do. They just are chronically online, just all day long, all night long. You think if she had friends, she would be sitting in some server for 8 hours? And I joined one, I didn't join it later because I was going to sleep. I had to work the next day. But I joined the VC that she was in before heading to talk to this guy, and I said, this is boring. Like they're not even talking about anything. They're just sitting here, and she'll make a noise when she's playing some game. The guy will make a noise and he's playing his game. And there are some people where like playing some of these games is their whole personality. Like if you try to talk to them about anything else, they do what she does, just sit there in abject silence, like you clicked an on or off switch. Won't even respond to you, won't even look at you. I shouldn't say look because I know it's over the computer and they can't, but you get the point. Like it just won't even like you won't even register on their map as someone they would actually like address and you know conversate with. Absolutely nuts. So at this point, there's about maybe two more, three more that I look forward to speaking to. Um, One of them I haven't spoken to in a few weeks. Said that she's busy with her job. I'm not holding my breath. There's another one who is, already like stood me up and we scheduled something together. I didn't get that irritated with it because when you've been stood up by somebody in real life, it makes all the computer standing up not seem that bad by comparison. Um, but yeah, it's those two, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, and like I said, I don't have any misgivings about the rest of them. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. There's going to be a few that are receptive, and the rest act like you don't exist. A few that'll talk to you, and the rest are just like, get out of here, pest, go away. Man, I tell you, it's sad to watch just the deterioration of relationships. I mean, a lot of guys come on here and start singing the I word song, all the rest of these stupid terms don't mean anything, right? But in all seriousness, we're at a point where it's just not possible to have a productive um relationship with a woman. It's not a thing that is in the cards for some people, as you could say. And that's not because you don't want it, you didn't try hard enough. It's created by a series of factors. I mean, when people don't want to tell you the truth, when they want to lie to you, when they want to act like hearing from you is this like very obnoxious, frustrating thing for them. Oh, you're trying to talk to me again. You just you're just dealt a bad hand of cards. And sometimes there really is nothing else you can do. Like the only solution I could see here to just not being irritated with them is to just quit altogether. Like just don't even bother. Mm. And I have had a few of them where I just like stop even trying, period. Like just let them sit on there all day long. But really, there are some things where people will try, they'll make every effort they can to get it, and it just doesn't make a difference. And it's one of those things where you're so negative, they'll start singing that song. But I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, if people are gonna just sit here and, you know, again, beat you over the head with this idea that you're doing something wrong. And then you know in your heart of hearts that you have tried, you have made every effort, you have compromised, you've put yourself out there, you've gone out of your way. Those attempts to make you feel bad just aren't going to work. Like, I remember the Reddit days. Man, logging on that stupid site every day to go and see which new crazy woman was talking about. I need some attention from men. How are you? It was a memorable era. Man, I remember the last time I went to which site was that? Oh, I didn't even get to mention, like, I was at this outlet earlier this week just getting something to eat, and some woman was on a bicycle, like, coming through the drive-through in the reverse way. So, like, you would drive in there, right? She's like coming out the other way around, and I moved out the way for her to get by. And as I'm like at the window, or I guess after I finished, it was either after or before. I think it was after. She's like, "Can you order me something, my love?" And I just felt so annoyed and disgusted because it's like, and this is really true. People are more likely to get something for you, or at least be generous in a way, if you don't ask for it. That's what I've observed. And it's like you're gonna, like, instead of getting a job or doing something that creates the circumstance for you to be able to, like, buy things on your own, you're gonna, like, stalk the drive through of this place. I was very annoyed. I rolled my window up. Like, I didn't want to hear her, I didn't want to look at her. Just go away. I don't know. I've gotten really sick of being in the era where people only want to talk to me if they think they can get something out of me. Like, I'm really irritated with this whole dynamic of, people want to act like I'm this big pest. And of course, if they think they can get something. Hey, how you doing? What's up? So, like I mentioned at my job, I was getting contacted to take on the shifts for people who I didn't even know who they were. Like, they would send me a message and say, "Hey, can you fill in for me?" And I was like, I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about you." Like, literally, I couldn't fill in for them because they wouldn't even say who they were. They're like, just, "Hello, sir, can you do this for?" It's like, I guess maybe if you would tell me your damn name. People just are so damn entitled. Like, they just, oh man. Oh, lovely, the sun is up. Before I had to pay for all this stuff, I could go and get a $10 thing of coffee and some, little breakfast item. But now I don't even. I'm at like a what's the point kind of stage with a lot of this stuff. In all fairness, I'll probably not try to get something to eat until like the middle part of the afternoon, most likely. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff I see on the horizon that's not good. Like, And you got this woman that we played the voice of. You're hurt because a B word rejected you, and I'm like, imagine saying that to someone that didn't even want to date you. You know, like I had the one guy who said she was delusional. I was like, yeah, that's absolutely true. But I'm not. I don't enjoy having those kind of exchanges, and I don't think those kind of exchanges should take place. Like I've said repeatedly, I would be the first one to just never talk to another woman, period, ever again. Um, if in many cases they didn't seek me out, if in many cases they didn't go and make some like overt attempt at speaking to me. But I guess you just have to keep your guard up and never just don't talk to any of them. Like when you join some call or whatever and you hear one of them speaking, just mute them. Just don't ignore them. Like because again, nothing good comes out of this. I've had many of them at my job where they try to like say hello to me or whatever, and I don't even respond. Again, like what's the point? You're gonna try and get me in trouble again, like the other one did. And people can say I'm, whatever, but it's like I don't know any men that go and sit by another guy and they're like, "Oh yeah, the guy I just sat by made me uncomfortable." Again, only weird chicks do stuff like that, and people know that. They're always plotting someone's demise at every turn. It is interesting just how many gimmicks you see. Like you have one that I'm not a call person, right? And there's some other ones that do the whole I don't do phone stuff, right? And I said, like, think of how crazy it is that in real life, when people talk to you more often than not, it's voice to voice. And this person is like so egotistical as to tell you that you're just not allowed to hear their voice. I mentioned that was like why the coworker thing was like peak Twilight Zone, because it's like this girl gives you her number and then tells you you can't call her. Well, then what the hell's the point of the number? And then doesn't even barely respond to texting either. So, like, what are we doing here? God, she is a piece of garbage. I tell you, I don't care what anybody says. Like most of them, I just think are stupid, but that one is pure evil for what she tried to do. And the only reason it didn't work is because she's such an idiot, But just still, the intent was there. Cowardly buffoon. That's all she is. I'll never forgive something like that. But like I said, relations just seem to be getting worse and worse, and I don't know what else you can really do to combat it or avoid it besides just not speaking to any of them anymore, like period. Because like I said, that coworker thing, the one thing it opened my eyes to was that they are just as hard and awful to try being friends with in real life as they are online. And even if there's not some like guy in the way that's like, causing this whole idea of you must want to date my woman. They're stupid enough to think every guy that talks to them is on this like has like this master plan to be their boyfriend or something. So again, I just wonder what's even the purpose of this. Like we're gonna go into some server or I mean, hell, it doesn't have to be online, right? We could just like work at another job, or maybe even because I'm not gonna go and ask out random chicks or go up to them out of the blue. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I've talked before about I think it's dumb. What, you're gonna just meet more that keep doing the same stupid stuff over and over? Again, what's the point? But I said you look at the trajectory of these things, and it doesn't seem like it's going in any direction that is promising. And you have these clowns, they come and say this person's negative. Oh, it's like, no, we're just looking at it's basic pattern recognition skills. Like last 10 guys I friended on some website, they didn't block or unfriend me, right? So the next 10 probably won't block or unfriend me. But if out of these last 10 chicks, 7 of them did that, then yeah, out of the next 10, it'll probably be 6, 7, or 8, or 9 that do that. Because this is just how they are. They're these very finicky, kind of like flip flopping all over the place. I like you on Monday, despise you on Tuesday. Bastards. Like that's just what they are. And I simply don't have the patience to deal with a lot of this stuff because like I said, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. We're talking about girls where you just want to like hang out. Girl at your job, hey, I like talking to you. Want to go see a movie together? Yeah. Did the same thing with the guy and hung out with another guy at the mall, no problem. But when you do it with a woman, well, yeah, we can do it this day. But suddenly, last minute, oh, I can't do it. I'm out of town. My mother kidnapped me. Hey, maybe we can do it. Next time you're not busy. And then now suddenly I'm the most busiest. And it's like, why are there so many damn lies? Like think how crazy it is. If you don't want to do something with somebody, especially like if you're talking about a person in real life who you only see through the job, what can they do to you? Do you think that if you turn down or change your mind or honest about, hey, I don't want to do this with you, the person's gonna like what, grab you and pick you up and put you over his shoulder? Like, come on. You're so irresistible that we couldn't go on if you said that you didn't want to hang out with us. Like, no, no. I would have been so like her response, instead of just telling the truth of not wanting to do this, was so lousy that if I had been directly rejected, I would have been dancing in joy because of how stupid the response on her part was to the rest of this. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. And I even said, like, do you really want to sit in another group call with these people? Some girls there, some women's there, whatever. And she does the whole laughing, giggling routine. I like your routine. And then, you send the person a friend request and they accept it. And then you start trading messages. And after like a few days, she's all of a sudden active. Like, I mean, come on. Does that really sound exciting to you? Like nobody else is tired of the two-faced split personality thing that's going on with a lot of them. Like I'm the only one that's just like, this is dumb. I'm the only one that's just like, hey, can we get something new going, something different than just the same old trash? Seriously? It's just me that is tired of running on a damn hamster wheel. And like I said, everyone always wants to talk about self-improvement and you need to better yourself and all the rest of this philosophical garbage, but the truth is, when people don't want to see something happen, they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that that's not the case. So, like, you can sit here and play this mind over matter game all you want, but if a person is determined to just cut you out of their life or to not do something with you, then it's not going to happen. There's no self-improvement that would have stopped this girl from believing that because of my writing style and the day that my account was made and um, whatever other stuff, that I was her ex-boyfriend back to haunt her again on some new account. There's no self-improvement that would have prevented the girl who agrees to see a movie with you from standing you up at the last minute and then after a falling out refusing to just directly say I don't want to go with you week after week until you get to the point of just confronting her and she gets mad and tries to destroy you. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do, and people don't want to accept that. Just like a lot of times with jobs, they don't tell you why you didn't get hired. It's like are you really supposed to just sit there racking your brain? Maybe if I had just wore this shirt or worked for 8 months at the postmaster's office. Like, come on, it's just you at a certain point, you just have to say, look, sometimes people want to do things with you, sometimes they don't. And most importantly, it's not always your fault. There are things and factors that we may not even be aware about that can play a role in the result that we get from some of these people, even if it's an undesirable result. I really don't like. I really don't think it's healthy to just sit there and constantly be belittling yourself over these dumb chicks. I really don't. Because, like I said, who are they to determine how good of a person you are? They're not God. But people don't want to think critically about something, so they'll just keep on looking for a scapegoat. Unfortunately. And it is unfortunate because, like I said, this stuff doesn't benefit anyone. But yeah, in the future, I'm going to try as hard as I can to just not talk to any of them anymore. Like the little few tiny bit of ones that I'm still on friend list and whatnot, I'll make an effort here or there, but they're just such a toxic group, like that the triangle plot armor goes strong. It goes to the point where people like they don't even want to criticize lousy behavior, and it's really sad. But yeah, over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping we can get the Nixon documentary part one out. I've written some for that. I got the book on Eisenhower now, so I'll take a crack at it. I don't think we'll ever get to Stonewall, but one can only hope. And I still want to do the response video to those weird things those guys are writing because it was pretty nuts. I'm not lying. It was pretty crazy. I mean, I don't quite understand what these people were thinking. Um, I really hope that people just act more like people. Like I know that like it's easy. Oh, it's online, so of course women act like yeah, but they act this way in real life too. And I can only hope that either they change their behavior or men change their desire to want anything to do with them. Either one is fine by me because, like I said, I know I don't talk to most of them anymore after that stupid stuff I saw earlier this year with the coworker. That was like Armageddon. I mean, and people will always talk about moving on. I don't bother that person anymore. But I said I'm not going to let another one of them do that to me ever again. Um, I'm not going to get a call where you've got me damn near ready to have a heart attack because somebody got their feelings hurt and wants to get revenge on me for just just stupid stuff. But they really believe that like you as a and this is we'll end on this note. This is the most disturbing part of all. This is something that we should save this stream for October. They really believe in this idea that if you're a guy, everything you do is supposed to be based around them. What you wear, how you speak. And if you ever do anything that's not in tandem with what they would want, they're completely fine with your destruction. Same girl that smiled at me week after week, right? Once she got lightly teased over being flaky, not like called out of her name, just like teased a little bit over her little weird tendencies, ready to try to get this person fired. You know, this girl that sits here pouring her heart out to me about all this stuff with her dad and mom and brother and whatnot. She gets a poem and I miss you, ready to block you, throw you out into the gutter. I mean, hell, the girl that you sit here, she tells you she's going to talk to you and stands you up. This is the same one that later on we find out is like the boyfriend is telling her like to not talk to me. You send her a few messages trying to clarify, hey, what happened? Ready to unfriend you. So that's what I've said. The most disturbing part of this is that in a lot of these women's minds, you are nothing. You are this plaything to just throw away. And that's why I said, like, why get invested in a group of people who don't even see you as a person? You're nothing to them. And you never will be. I know I won't. It's already been made perfectly clear and established. You can talk to one of these bastards for hours on end for multiple days and still be nothing to them. Have no problem unfriending you, blocking you, saying let's go our separate ways. The winds are turning in another direction. So, like I said, there's no point. You're literally better off just talking to your damn wall, because at least the wall isn't going to sit there and smile at you and pretend that it likes spending time with you just to cut the umbilical cord out of the clear blue sky. We're going to talk about I made mistakes with women. The only mistake I ever made was even bothering in the first place. And I knew they were this rancid, I would have just sat there and said, forget it. So it's been an interesting stream. I just had to vent about all this stupid stuff with them. And that's that. Have a good rest of your weekend.